Okay, in this video I want to show you how to trace your scanned image of your sitemap. In the previous video we had attached it, rotated, and scaled it to size. So now the image is full size. There is no exact procedure in tracing a map. So the procedures that I'm going to explain is the methods that I have used over the years. The first thing I like to do is to draw the streets. And to do that, I'm going to use a command called construction line. With construction lines, you can create horizontal and vertical lines with a single mouse click. So I'm going to click on construction line, and I want to do vertical, and then I'm going to zoom in and place the vertical construction lines in the center of the streets and the curbs on this drawing. I did not create a layer for the curbs, so we're just going to place everything on the street layer. You'll notice on the construction lines, these objects do not have endpoint. So after I draw a few of these, we're going to trim them back 2 lines. So let me go in and place a couple of vertical lines in here. Add another one here. And then restart the command and add some horizontal lines. And right now, actually what we're doing is just trying to eyeball these and get them in the center of the lines. I've got down here on 7th Avenue, I'll give you a heads up. 7th Avenue is not horizontal, but we're going to make it horizontal by aligning it to these lines here. So to clean this up, I'm going to use the trim command, use the image itself as a boundary, and then I can remove the edges of the construction lines. By trimming them, AutoCAD converts them to lines. Repeat the trim command, and then I can clean up some of the intersections that I'm going to have to go back later and add fillets to. So let me just do a little more cleanup here. And that looks good. The next step is to add the fillets around the corners. These fillets in this area is 15 feet. There's a few smaller ones that are 5, and up at the top of the drawing there's 2 here that I know that's 20 feet. Our goal is to try to draw this map as closely as the original. So what I'm going to do is move this line down and center it along this street, start my fillet command, set the radius to 15, and then fillet these corners. If you don't know the radius of the corners, you're going to just have to make an educated guess and try to figure out what the radius is. Okay. And then let me go ahead and fillet these with the radius of 20. So we'll add these fillets. And then we've got to come in and draw some short lines. You can either use a line command or the construction line tool. Either one works. We just want to be able to get some short lines in here that we can trim. And once I get those added, I'll select trim, hit enter for all edges, and then we can get those cleaned up. And then we're going to round the corners with the fillet command with the radius of 5. Let me set that to 5 again. Had to go in and select multiple because the command doesn't automatically repeat. And then I'm going to hold down my shift key and square this corner off. To round these corners, I have discovered that it's easier to actually use fillet. So what I'm going to do is draw some temporary horizontal lines and trim out the entrance or the egress to these islands. And this line has to be moved up here. So I'll trim these out. Let me try that again. Trim. Hit enter for all edges. And like I said, these are temporary lines that I can delete. Because we can add a fillet to parallel lines, and by doing this it gives us the semicircle. And I can add the same fillets to this one. This one is off just a little, so it really needs to be stretched down. So I'm going to use my stretch command and stretch that down at angle 0. Let me get that locked in at angle 270. My polar angle needs to be set to 90 degrees. This one I'm going to do the same thing and stretch it up just a little. Refillet this corner. I'm way off there, so I'm going to stretch that straight down. And up here I'm just going to move this line over, erase that line, and then go in and add a fillet. Okay, the next thing I'm going to add is my sidewalks. Okay, I need to stretch this up. So I'm going to switch to layer sidewalk. Use my construction line tool. And do vertical. And add the 2 lines for the sidewalk. And then trim those out between the curbs. So we'll use the trim command. Trim out those lines. Restart the trim command. Select all edges. And then we can trim those out. There may be some extra that we need to erase. Okay. But that kind of gives you an idea of how to get the horizontal and vertical lines. All of the rectangular objects here are buildings. So I'm going to go to the building layer, use my rectangle command, and draw the building. This is the actual store. I have a car wash. And I'm going to connect to this edge of the building by using my nearest object snap. Pick that corner and draw that building, and then continue with this other car wash with the rectangle command. Around the building is a sidewalk. So I'm going to go back in and draw some lines on the sidewalk layer. I'm going to connect using nearest and then just outline the sidewalk. You can use object snap tracking to help you line things up. Turn object snap tracking and object snap on, and that gives you a building around or a sidewalk around your building. The next thing we're going to look at is adding the text to the drawing. We're going to introduce you to a feature called annotative text. Using annotative text, we must set the scale factor of the drawing. So down here at where it says 1:1, we're going to set that to 1:20. And AutoCAD is going to scale our text by 20 so that it's the right size. So on our text, we want to use the annotative text style. So we'll set that to annotative. We'll start the mtext command, and I'm going to zoom into 7th Avenue, and the mtext editor is going to show up. So my large text has a height of 0.1, and I'm going to type in 7th Avenue, and place that on the drawing. You'll see the little symbol above the cursor indicating that it's annotative text. Okay, you'll notice that the text does not actually fit the text on the drawing because I gave you some incorrect information earlier. The actual scale of the map is 1 to 50. Well, the nice thing about annotative text is when I change the size of the map, the annotative objects automatically update. So now the text is the correct size. So let's go in and add some more text. The smaller text has a height of 0.08. So I'll add that, and we'll type in the word grass and place that on the drawing. And the annotative text should be on a layer called Notes. And that's how we add annotative text. Now when you get ready to place the map on your sheet, your text may not show up. So I'm going to go over to my A-size landscape, double click my mouse wheel to do a zoom extends. You'll see the image, so I'm going to freeze layer scanned image in the current viewport so that it doesn't appear, but you don't see my text. Because the text is annotative, it does not show up until I set the scale factor of the viewport to 1 to 50. Once that's been set, then the text will show up. I'm going to pan the image so that I can see it, lock it into place, and you now have the beginning of your sitemap.